hundreds of abandoned uranium mines on the Navajo Nation. They have poisoned the land and a way of life there.
The cleanup process has been slow for those who live right in the heart of them.
For many, it's been a decades-long fight for removal of what's called hot dirt. And Colton Schoen learned there's still no end in sight.
This is home for Edith Hood.
Somebody left me a tip.
She and her family have lived in this spot for generations. The people call this place the Redwater Pond Road Community Association.
And then we had a medicine living across the way.
It's a remote village on Navajo land surrounded by beauty and radioactive waste.
We had everything at our hands. Now it's all contaminated.
Tons of hot dirt left behind from the nearby abandoned Northeast Church Rock uranium mine and the abandoned Kerr-McGee uranium mine complex.
Uranium, it's in the air, the soil, the water, everywhere.
Teresita Kayana also grew up here.
Here's a fork for the strawberries, okay?
And believes the place she loves so much is killing her family.
We suffer from respiratory illnesses, cancers, different kinds of skin ailments. There's a lot of things that happen.
Like this baby goat that was born hairless, only to die moments after birth.
Some people might say, well, why don't they just move somewhere else?
Yes, we have heard that. I think most of us have heard that. And for most of us are traditionalists. And as you know, in the Navajo way, you have your umbilical cord buried. You have the past ones that are buried, in the hills. I said, we don't just leave them there.
On the job, commanding great tools.
Uranium mining was at its peak on the Navajo Nation from the 1940s to the 1980s.
Of course, the red roof house here, that was my mother's.
Hood remembers her homeland bustling with miners and mill workers.
And left it on top of this hill again.
Today, it's a different story. According to the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, there are more than 500 abandoned uranium mines scattered across the Navajo Nation. Many are between Gallup and Grants and near Shiprock.
We want a clean environment for our grandchildren.
Hood says the community didn't even know the dirt left behind was hazardous until researchers tested it in the early 2000s.
There's high levels, especially in the ditches. We started to band together to organize.
And they did, holding meeting after meeting with tribal, state, and federal authorities to get rid of the contaminated dirt. Attorney Eric Jantz with the New Mexico Environmental Law Center represents Redwater Pond.
Their feeling is, for the most part, that the EPA is delaying this until all the folks there have passed on.
Jantz says they're getting international attention by filing a complaint with the United Nations Human Rights Committee, saying minority communities, like this Navajo one, are treated unfairly in Superfund site cleanups.
In communities that are wealthier and more Anglo, like, for example, Durango, Colorado. Durango, Colorado in the 1970s had significant uranium mill tailings in part of their community. The EPA got wind of that situation. They essentially rebuilt the entire neighborhood after they removed the tailing piles 3 miles off-site. And they did it all within a period of 7 years. So it can be done very quickly.
An EPA spokesperson tells KOB, "We understand the community's frustration with delays in the cleanup. To date, EPA has removed 200,000 tons of contaminated soil. The remaining contamination at the Northeast Church Rock mine is fenced off and is capped by clean soil to protect the community until the final cleanup starts."
When it comes to this gate, this fence, and this sign that says keep out, is it doing enough to protect the community from what's right there?
Not really, because
the EPA says potential cleanup of the Church Rock mine is projected to start between 2021 and 2024. As for the Kerr-McGee mine, an EPA spokesperson says it's working on a plan comparing cleanup options. That will be released in a year. Teresita left the reservation and now lives in Gallup. She says that she's noticed a big difference in her family's health now that they've left.
Because this is home. And, if we can get it cleaned up and if we can get all these government agencies to be held accountable and be here to help us move back, that would be great.
With this 4 Investigates team reports, I'm Colton Schoen.